Hello, everyone. We are live and alive. I'm so excited and grateful to be here today connecting with all of you. If you are here connecting with me, please do let me know you're doing that. Put something in the comments, say where you're joining from, why you're excited to be here, what your concerns are with the overwhelm potentially that you may be feeling in your life. This is a different epidemic that's happening especially right now, but this one has been going on for quite some time. So now is the better time than ever to be doing it, to be processing it, to be understanding and really inquiring as to what's going on and what we can do about it. The best part about this is one of the things that I've been hearing from people is that we thought, okay, we're going to have this pause. It's going to be a great time to stay at home, slow down a little bit, get some more done, spend time with family. But really what's happening is we're having all these extra pressures. We're supposed to be slowing down. We're supposed to be spending extra time rearranging our closets or whatever the case may be. And we're just those extra pressures on top of now we're having to juggle all of this new way of being in the world, new way of working. It's just a lot. And so people who are already overwhelmed are more overwhelmed in a lot of cases. And so what we really need to be doing is a huge part of this is perspective. So I'm going to bring you some perspective as well as some tools today to help you be able to do things a little bit different in your life and look at things a little bit different in your life. There's a magic that can happen when you shift the way that you're looking at and doing things. And so we're going to bring in a little bit of that as well as give you some additional resources that you can tap into to continue to do that and do that even more in your day and in your life. One of those tools and resources that I'm going to be offering, we did our first one this week. It was absolutely amazing, absolutely amazing. I can't recommend it highly enough, is the Power Huddle. So on Tuesday evenings, we're doing the 20 to 30 minutes. I know that people don't have a lot of time. I know the weather is starting to get nice out there. And so I want to create a way that you can do the things that absolutely you need to be doing and focusing on the most. Get the mentoring, the connection, the community, the mindset, all of those things dialed in 20 to 30 minutes. Folks, this does not take a lot of time. This isn't something that you have to spend hours of day trying to figure out what is most important to you in your life and how to do it. This is something that's pretty instantaneous when you have an above down approach when you're doing it in the way that you want to be doing it. So plan to come to the next one. I believe we already have the Facebook event set for that next one. So you can go over to the events page on the Dr. Lara Hill DC website. Get registered. You need to register through the Eventbrite to go onto Zoom for that. So make sure that you do that. It's a really doable way of getting all of this, making all of this happen in your life. Even if you're not overwhelmed, things will only get better when you're connecting with some of these ideas, concepts, and practices, most importantly, practices in the right way. And then you can use them all during your wake too, if you choose, but even just doing it for those 20 or 30 minutes is going to make a really big difference in your life. So what is going on with this whole overwhelm thing? Where is this coming from? So we know there's this thing of there's just so much going on. We are really lucky. We live in times where we have the most abundance that we've ever had in our lives. We have it better than anyone in our history, any of our ancestors, grandparents, any of our lineage. Everyone that we has come before us has had more challenges than we have right now. So we're very, very lucky. But what that's done for us is created an abundance that has also created an abundance of opportunities, options, and responsibilities. And so with all of these options that we have in the world, we're left scrambling to get done all the things that we really want to have done. It's no longer a matter of just survival and showing up and making sure that we're doing the things that we do to get food on the table. It's really about all of the other things that we have available to us and being the best that we can be. Now, that's a beautiful place to be in. And also there's a certain different set of higher quality problems that comes along with it. So how do we best manage, or how can I say optimize those challenges? So some of what's going on here when that's going on is about this problem of should, that we all say, oh, I should be doing this, but I'm not. There's all these things that I could be doing that I want to be, but I don't have time for. And so living in this world of shoulds and coulds can really be draining, because really what we're doing is we're not in present reality. The shoulds and the coulds, what I like to say oftentimes is that we're arguing with reality. When we're saying I should be doing this, but I'm not right now, you're not right now. So the reality is that you're not. And so when you say that you're not, but you should be, that's just arguing with what is actually true. So starting to come to reality, first of all, with that the shoulds and the coulds are really some of what is actually initiating this issue. The other thing is it's all about doing it ourselves. The question here is, what is guiding us? What is it that's guiding us? Is it a series of check boxes and lists of what we have to do on a daily basis? Are we trying to just get life done? Or is there a higher set of values and a higher guiding principle that we're living our life by? And that's what we're going to be spending some of the time on this particular live talking about. So what is it that's guiding us? And are you really clear what you're working towards? When you get to the end of your week today, this week, or this year, can you look back and say, I did everything I wanted to be doing? When you get to the end of this lifetime and you're sitting on a rocking chair on a porch, are you going to be able to look back and say, I did everything I wanted to do in this lifetime? So really taking a moment to be thinking about those things, so that as we go into our day, our week, our year, our lifetime, those are the things that we can have in mind. Stephen Covey, who wrote The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, extraordinary book if you haven't read it, talks about this concept of we're all, busily climbing this ladder of success or towards opportunities or whatever the case may be. And what we don't want to happen is that we get to the top of that ladder and we realize that we had the ladder up against the wrong building the whole time. So what building is your ladder up against? And do you know that you're climbing the building that you want to be climbing? These are some of the things that, as far as you taking the right perspective, are going to have a massive impact, not just on what you're doing, and not just doing more things, but on your mindset, the way you feel about what you're doing and what's been done. Do you ever feel like you're not fully satisfied, like you never really itch the scratch of the things that need to be done? The checklist is never checked off, and so you never quite feel like you're there, like you're fulfilled, like this sort of elusive end of the checklist. When you get there, you'll be fulfilled and happy and feel complete. I have what might be some disappointing news to you, but is really empowering. And that is, you'll never get there. The checklist will never be all the way checked off. It'll never be done. So really it becomes about, are you making the choices to be doing the things on a daily basis that are going to have you feel fulfilled? And the only way to do that is to be doing that exploratory work on the inside. And this is some of the work that we have been and will be doing and continuing to do on those Tuesday evening power huddles. And we call them the power huddle because it's a quick in and out, really easy, doable amount of time that we can be doing these things, making a massive impact on the way that you're living your life without spending a bunch of time doing it. It doesn't take hours every day. So how do you get the right perspective? Certainly surrounding yourself with people, ideas, information, and practices is going to be one of the most important ways. And I will tell you this, one of the ways that you don't get the right perspective is here. This does not have all the answers for you. So getting time off of devices, getting off of the devices for as much time as you can every day. I'm not even going to say as much time as you can every day, for some time every day. If you find that you've been on a device, on a computer or a screen your entire day, if you find you've been like this for an hour and a half, pause, set the phone down, take a look around you, take a deep breath. Just be aware of your environment and your surroundings. It will make a massive impact just having moments of presence, having moments where you're connecting with your body and your heart and your mind. This is where that intelligence comes from. It comes from inside. It doesn't come from your phone. It doesn't come from outside resources or influences. Ultimately, there are people and guideposts that can help you get there. There's information and wisdom that you can use to support yourself in getting there. But ultimately, the only place where you can find the answers to the questions you've been asking are inside. So the only way that you're going to be connecting with inside is to be taking time in silence and stillness, in solitude. And solitude doesn't mean alone on your phone. It means without outside influence on your thoughts and ideas in any given moment. So really taking that time and understanding and recognizing that this whole process of life is not all you. It's not you doing it. That you don't have to have it all figured out, because there's a greater intelligence to this whole process and this whole world that you're simply a part of, you're simply tapped into. Just like your body, inside your body, you're not having to think about every chemical pathway and every molecular function, cellular function that's happening at any given moment. Those are all happening and coordinating without you even thinking about it. Think about that. Every single cell has millions of function going on inside that cell at any given millisecond. And all of those cells are working together. And all of those organ systems that those cells make up are working together. All of this is working together in perfect harmony to keep you alive. And if any one part of it broke down, you would not be alive. And the same thing is going on in the universe. There is a greater organization, there's a greater intelligence in the universe. And this is not a religious conversation. This is simply the way things are. And this is a perspective you are invited to take on. You're invited to take on this perspective, because the thing is when you do, and I believe that most of the people out there have this belief anyway, but they forget. We forget. We think that it's all us doing it all. We forget that we're tapped into this greater harmony, this greater intelligence, this doing it all the time, whether we're thinking about it or not. And we think we have to have it all figured out, and we don't. So simply recognizing that principle makes all the difference in the world. Simply trusting, believing, and knowing that we are a part of a bigger picture. There is a greater intelligence that we are simply tapped into. There's a stream that we are just floating down. Now we have the ability to influence how much in that flow we are, to increase the power that we have over ourselves and our lives, but it's by listening more closely, more than influencing on purpose. So let me ask you a question. What has a greater influence? Giving advice or listening? This is an analogy. Do you have a greater influence on someone by giving them advice or by listening? Now, some of you would say, well, by giving advice. Obviously, how could you influence someone by listening? But I'll say that you have absolutely no influence over someone until you listen. And your advice that you might give has no value until you've listened. And we all know this intuitively. We've all had the experience where someone gave unsolicited advice before they even knew anything about our problem. They were giving advice based on who they were, rather than based on what we needed. We've all had this experience. We've probably all done it too. So really, the best advice that we can ever get is from someone who has deeply listened to us and our problems, our concerns, our challenges before they ever give that advice. Now, this is an extraordinary lesson on life, and you can take this in and of itself as valuable information. And this analogy is an analogy for what we're talking about. So listening rather than talking or giving advice is of greater value. And in the same way, in our own lives, in our own life experience, listening is of greater value than doing, than talking, than saying what it is that we want to do. Instead, really listening and tapping into, what are we feeling called to do? What are our highest values? What are we desiring in life? What are we on this planet to do? What are you on this planet to do? That's not something you make up. That's something you listen to on the inside, you detect within yourself. When you do, that's when you're tapped into that greater intelligence. You can decide that, but that decision comes from here, not from here. So really listening on the inside. And this isn't something that you do one time, this is something that you do all the time. And there's practices like meditation and prayer and mindfulness, where we can sit quietly and do this, journaling, for example. But those practices are also something that is just a practice so that we're doing it all the time, all day. For most people, you do need that practice. You do need that time, even if it's a minute or two, once or twice a day, to get in the practice of listening, to get in the practice of hearing your heart. And ultimately, to be able to let go and let God, as it said, to be able to let go and know that once we've tapped in and connected and offered the gratitude for that to whatever that organizing force of the universe is, and know that that has it taken care of, it's not up to us. It's not up to our small selves to figure it all out, to do it all, to make it all happen. We can rest. We can rest and know that we'll never be any more perfect than we already are, because that's how we came. That's what we were given, was perfection. And we can do all we want to move away from that. We can gather all of the evidence that we can to show ourselves how we're perfect and imperfect and flawed. But ultimately, there's no more perfection that we can gain by doing anything. And I know these are lofty concepts and these are completely different from the way that we're accustomed to thinking. And so you might have to come back and watch this video a few times. You might have to really just show up to that power huddle and create extra opportunities for yourself to be exposed to this concept, so that the part of your brain that goes, huh, can get slowly reprogrammed to recognize that it's not all about you. There's a bigger picture, there's a bigger presence, and there's a bigger intelligence, organizing intelligence and force in the universe. And I say this is not a religious conversation. For some people, religion can be helpful in recognizing that thing. It can point to this thing. For some people, it can actually hold them back from having a more authentic, connected relationship with this principle that we're discussing and talking about. So I invite you, whether you're a-religious or religious, to have this conversation with yourself, to connect more authentically with this organizing force that organizes us all, that organizes everything, that keeps every single part of our reality in a solid structure for example, instead of just dissipating into nothingness like it otherwise would. That keeps us within ourselves healthy, healing, operating, and functioning. Take some time, take a moment, take a breath, listen inside for that still small voice within. It has something to say, and it will keep on talking. It's not the same voice that you hear yammering about all day long. It's a quieter one. It arises from stillness. Please reach out. Please connect with us. Let us know how you can help. We're so grateful to be able to support you, and that the Optimizing Wellness group is an extraordinary group. Get a part of that, Optimizing Wellness Duluth. Connect with us for the Power Huddles. You'll have to register for those through Zoom. We call it Power Huddle to give that sense of it's really quick in and out, but it's really a heart-centered, very connecting circle of individuals expressing their and coming to be expressed through is what I'll say about that. So come and join, listen and connect, be a part of something. Continue to surround yourself with information, ideas, and resources that are going to support you during this time. And above all, connect with yourself within. We are continuing to see people here in the office. So we are scheduling virtual consultations. You can go to drlarahill.com for that and schedule a free virtual pre-consultation before you ever come into the office so that we can hear what's going on. Having a connected brain, body, and nervous system is one of the ways that people sometimes need who have gotten disconnected within their bodies, within their lives, to be more connected. And that is part of what I feel grateful. That is the principle that we're working with when we connect, help people's bodies connect more in their lives. That is the foundation of this conversation. That is what we're talking about right here, right now. And that's what we're doing in our office. And that's what we're doing in every single class, workshop, and video that we're doing, is helping people connect with that organizing intelligence that is within you, within themselves, right here within your heart. Thank you for spending your time here today. Dr. Lara Hill, signing off.